and start recording. So welcome everyone. Glad you were able to join us this morning. We have a special presentation happening. This is an opportunity to learn more about a bachelor's in social work and how you can potentially transfer with your AAS degree in human services to Winston-Salem State. They have an excellent program that's been a great opportunity for a lot of our graduates, and we're very lucky today to have Dr. Douglas Bates from that program here to present and share more. So I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Bates to share with us.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you, Ms. Zook, for providing this opportunity for me to come on behalf of our program in our university to speak to everybody. As she says, my name is Dr. Douglas Bates. I am a tenure track assistant professor at Winston-Salem State University in the social work department. I am also a social worker. I was a social worker for almost 10 years before I got into academia full time. So I really, truly value this profession of social work. I take it very seriously, and part of me as being a social worker and also an educator is gatekeeping, which Ms. Zook knows well about as well. It's the importance of making sure we have the right fit come through to represent this profession in the field, because that's extremely important. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and do a quick PowerPoint, giving an overview of our program, just the nuts and bolts logistics of it, how it works, and then allow room for, questions and answers. One thing about me, if you talk to any of my students, they'll tell you I'm big on transparency. So please ask any questions. No such thing as a dumb question in this space. If you have a question about this program, the requirements, if I don't have an answer, give me your email and I'll get back to you with that answer. But just please ask questions. All right, so let me share my screen. All right, can everybody see that? Yes, okay. All right, so just a quick overview of who is in our department. Our department's undergone a lot of changes. We had two of our senior faculty to leave. One, she left to relocate to Florida for another opportunity, and primarily because her husband had a great job opportunity, so she relocated to Florida. And another colleague, she just had a lot of things going on within her family, so she, just took a step back to focus on that. So as of right now, within our program, we have two full-time faculty. That would be me and my colleague, Professor Stanley. She's our clinical faculty, and we also have 3 adjuncts as well. I couldn't find their pictures in time. So in total, it's 5 of us. So we have a pretty decent sized faculty. Like I said, 2 full-time and 3 adjuncts. I've been with the university since 2018. Professor Stanley, she was here before my time as an adjunct, and then she went into the social work space, just doing private practice and everything. And now she's back and she's full-time as a clinical faculty. Why can't you want to say factory? Clinical faculty. What else about us? We're both very family oriented. I have 4 kids, a wife, 2 dogs. Professor Stanley has 3 kids, a husband, a dog. So we're all about that work-life balance with us. Professor Stanley also, she lives remotely. So she actually lives in Florida, but she works with us remotely full-time, helping mainly with our seminar courses and with our introduction to social work course as well, which is I'm going to talk about in a second. All right. So just some information about our program. Our program originally began in 2008, and we are accredited by Council of Social Work Education, which is CSWE. Any social work program within the U.S., whether it's an undergraduate program, an MSW program, or a doctorate program, please, if you don't consider WSSU for your social work degree, make sure that program is accredited by the Council of Social Work Education. That is a big part of making sure that program is accredited and that you're learning what you need to learn in order to become an effective social worker. So we are accredited by CSWE. We have been accredited since 2008. We only have a BSW program, a Bachelors of Social Work program. And as of right now, we have 125 plus majors, which I think is a pretty good size for the small faculty size that we have. A lot of our majors are pre-majors, which means they're not officially majors, social work majors. They're going through the process, but they are social work majors according to their transcript. But as of right now, we have 125 plus majors. And also, when thinking about our major, we are in top 10 on the university of transfer students, meaning we have a lot of students that come in from transfer community colleges such as Forsyth Tech that look to enroll in our program. We have a 97% acceptance rate in graduate school, which is really, really good. Actually, we're going to be having our graduate school fair in a few weeks where we have partnerships and good communication with local MSW programs and MSW programs throughout the country that look to recruit our students, but specifically for our students, because they feel we graduate very strong students that usually go into MSW programs and perform amazingly. We just have a lot of good students that leave our program. They don't always come in originally good, but we take them through the process, we get them right, and let them know what does it mean to be a social work practitioner, as far as having the academic foundation, but most importantly also having those interpersonal skills, knowing how to talk to people, how to relate to people. Because as a social worker, if you don't know how to talk to people, if you don't know how to relate to people, you're going to struggle in this profession. So that's something that we really, really take seriously when we bring people into our own program. We teach you how to not only get that academic foundation, but how to communicate with people effectively, ethically, and in a professional manner as well.
It says I'll initiate.
Oh, I'll keep going. So also we have 80 plus admitted into 80% of our students are admitted into advanced standing programs. So what advanced standing is that means once you've gotten your BSW, hopefully with our program, you can go into a MSW program to get your master's of social work. And if your GPA is high enough and you meet some other criteria, you can go into a master's of social work program and you can get your master's degree in 11 months, which is really, really good, especially when you look at other programs, not other programs, when you look at other professions. Usually when they go back to get their graduate degree, on average, is going to take maybe 2 or 3 years. With our program, the way we have it set up and the process that we take you through, our goal, because many of our students, their goal is to get their MSW for their next step. Our goal is to get you ready for those next steps, to get your MSW, and hopefully to get you into an advanced standing program so that you can get your master's degree in 11 months. I personally went through an advanced standing program when I was getting my MSW. It was very intense, but it was definitely worth it. I mean, you can't beat that, to get a master's degree in 11 months, right? What else? So when you think about social work education at WSSU, we focus on a lot of things, but our main focus is to address social injustices and barriers to enhance the well-being of members in our society. So we are located, for those of you who don't know, we're located in the East Winston area. So a lot of our efforts are focused on this specific area for many reasons. And one thing we are big about also within our program is social justice, advocacy, like I said, those interpersonal relationships, and understanding how all those are connected, and also understanding how our clients are affected, not only by barriers on a local level, but even more importantly, systemic issues that affect our clients as well. And how do we have those conversations about changing those things, and what does that look like in action? And that's where the social justice and advocacy piece come in as well. But in order to do that, you got to have that framework, right? So you got to learn about these different theories. You got to learn about Piaget and Erickson. You got to learn about macro skills, micro skills. You also have to learn about research, which is something my students fear whenever I say the word research, but it is a part of being a social worker. You got to learn how research works and how that can inform your practice when working with your clients. So these are just some of the things that we focus on within our program. Human behavior, we actually have 2 human behavior courses that you have to take, human behavior 1 and human behavior 2. We also have social policy 1 and social policy 2. We have research methods. And these are just other things that we focus on, as I was saying earlier, which is social justice and advocacy, problem solving skills, which is extremely important, professionalism, communication, community programming, and project and program development. We want you to leave this program understanding that as a social worker, you have a lot of opportunities. This is a very, it gives you a lot of opportunities to work in a lot of different spaces. As a social worker, I was very privileged to work with a lot of different populations. I worked with the mentally ill, I worked with children, the elderly, homeless, single mothers, and all because, you know, a lot of that's because I had a degree that taught me how to work with these different populations. And when it came to just applying for jobs, honestly, a lot of the jobs that I applied for, you know, wanted social workers. You know, so that made me very marketable once I graduated from my program. Specifically, once I graduated with my MSW, it made me a very marketable, and I was able to find employment rather easy with a master's degree in social work. So what are some things or potential areas that social workers can do? Social workers can work in a lot of different fields. We can work in substance abuse. We can work in the community doing macro practice, doing grassroots efforts. We can work at hospice. We can work in the military. We work with child and family services. A lot of our students who leave our program want to work with children. We can also work in the psychiatric and mental health space, which is very important. There haven't been a lot of great things that have been happening through this pandemic. But I think one great thing, one silver lining, is it really placed an emphasis on the importance of mental health. How not only is your physical health is important, it obviously is important. You know, you gotta eat right, you gotta exercise, you gotta sleep well, you know, but also you gotta have that mental health balance. You gotta have that self-care, which is a big word we use in our profession, you know, because unfortunately, while we are a profession that's in high need as social workers, we also are a profession that we have a tendency, if we don't have the right self-care, where we burn out as well. So you got to have that balance of exercising, eating right, getting enough sleep, but also, are you meditating? Are you doing mindfulness training to help you center yourself? I might be getting too deep with this, but are you in therapy? You know, these are conversations that we have because these are conversations that we want you to have with your clients, you know, to understand not only their physical strength, their physical ability, but their mental health as well, which go hand in hand. You know, I always explain to my students that we have, well, within the last few years, it's gotten better. But before that, there was a huge stigma around mental health. You know, you don't talk about that you might be depressed, you might have anxiety, you know, but now we're getting a lot more comfortable with that in different spaces. And as social workers, you have to have an understanding of what that looks like, how to talk to your clients about talking about if they may be dealing with depression or anxiety, different stressors that may come from their environment. Understand as well as social workers, and that you're learning this program, is that our clients are very, very much impacted by their environment. You know, we have a big term in our profession called person and environment. And literally what that means is that our clients are hugely impacted and affected by their environment. If you don't take the environment in consideration when evaluating your clients and thinking about what they're going through, you're doing them a huge disservice. So you always have to consider the environment when working with our clients and how that's impacting them and affecting them. So the pathway from community colleges, once again, you know, you all being at Foresight Tech, I thought I wanted to focus on this for a second. Many of the students we get from community colleges come in with enough credits to go straight into our major. So a lot of our students, I think, as Ms. Zook said at the beginning, with your associate's degree, most of our students who come from Foresight Tech, usually when they come in, they've already satisfied all their general education requirements. So usually what they have to do after that is they probably have to do a few more elective hours, but pretty much they can go right into the major. And the big class and the first class that you have to take before you get into our higher level courses is you have to take Introduction to Social Work. And it's also referred to as SOW 3363. Now this course, we consider this our gateway course, because like I said, before you can take any other courses within our major, you have to take that course first, and you have to get a C or better. And we offer this course. The good thing about this course is that we offer it pretty much year round. It's offered in the fall, spring, and summer. It's asynchronous. That means it's online. And our actually Professor Stanley, who I showed you the picture of earlier, she's like 99% of the time, she's the instructor of that course. And she takes you through the process of not only completing the course, but also applying for the program, which is something you have to do as well once you've completed that course. The course, like I said, the course is offered each semester and during the summer. If you do want to take it during the summer, we usually offer it only during summer session 1, which is usually like right at the end of May. So usually we have graduation around May 15th, May 18th. And usually by the end of May is when we start summer 1 here at Winston-Salem State University, and that's where we have that's when we offer introduction to social work. I'll say this before, I'll say this again because I want to make sure you understand. You have to take that course first and get a C or better before you can take any other courses within our major. All right. And also, because I've had this conversations with a few students, you have to be a C. It has to be a C in the course, not a C minus, a C. C plus is fine, but you cannot get a C minus. It has to be a C or better. Also, our courses have to be taken in sequential order, and I'll show you what that means in a few seconds, meaning that you have to take in a specific order in order to matriculate to this program. That's for a number of reasons. First and foremost, like I said, we're accredited by CSWE, and according to our self-study and the information that we put into our program, that we put into our self-study, is that we require students to have to take our courses in a certain order. So for example, you have to take your part 1 courses in one semester and your part 2 courses in the second semester, and I'll break that down in a second. But you have to take our courses in a specific order. And also, if you come into this program, so if you do the math on it, if you graduate with your associate's degree from Foresight Tech, right? And say you graduate in May, and then you can potentially take Introduction to Social Work that same summer, pass that course, and then starting in the fall, you take all your part 1 courses, correct? And then once you're taking your part 1 courses and you pass all those courses, you take your part 2 courses in the fall and spring. And then what we have is our field placement opportunity, which I'll talk about in a second. You can do either block or concurrent. And if you do block placement, that means you do all your field hours in one semester. So essentially, you can graduate our program. If you come in with an associate's degree and everything else falls in line, you can graduate our program with a BSW in 1.5 years. So I think that's the selling point that we're trying to give to our students, specifically the ones that come from community colleges and that have that associate's degree and have the other credits that come along with it. So our field placement. So after completing all required courses, you must have a 2.5 GPA within all social work courses, and you have to have a 2.5 GPA, you have to have a 2.5 GPA within social work courses and a 2.0 GPA overall in order to enter field placement. And what is field placement? Think of it as your internship. That's where we place you in a local agency, and you pretty much work, you are there to get experience in working with your clients and working with clients. You are partnered up with a field supervisor who you will report to, who you will answer to, and they will take you through the process of what is it like being at a social work agency. Now, in some field placements, you'll have a client load. You have a list of clients that you'll work with. And we have field placements throughout Forsyth County. We just established a field placement opportunity through Department of Social Services, which we're really, really excited about because that could potentially lead to a job opportunity. We have field placement opportunities with family services, communities and schools. What else? Man, I see them in my head. I look at the list every day. Was it YMCA Black Achievers? See, Ms. Zook, you put me on the spot. If I didn't look at this slide, I'll be able to call these sites off just like that. But now my mind's went blank. But anyway, the biggest thing that you need to remember for this slide in order to go into field placement, you have to have a 2.0 GPA overall. And then that means also within the social work major, you have to have a 2.5 GPA. That means within all your social work courses, you have to have a 2.5 GPA minimum in order to go into field placement. And we usually do not allow students to go into field placement until they've completed all their coursework. So you've done all your part ones, you've done all your part twos, you've done all your elective requirements, because we want you to be able to focus solely on field placement. And when you're in field placement as well, you have 2 other courses that you take that align with field placement. So while you're in field placement, while you're at your internship, you also have to go to the field placement course that's assigned with that occurs every Wednesday. And then you also have to participate in what's called an applied research course, which you also do to help you in your field placement. So what are the options that we have? You can either do it 2 ways. You could do what's called block placement, or you could do concurrent placement. With either option, you have to get a total of 400 hours, and that's 400 hours within your field placement. So if you're doing block placement, that means you will be at your field placement 4 days out the week, or Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And then on Wednesdays, you will be in class. And that means once again, you get your 400 hours within 1 semester. Or you could do what's called concurrent placement, which means you'll be in your field placement 2 days out the week over 2 semesters. And usually that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you're doing concurrent placement, that means you're going to do 200 hours each semester for a total of 400. Or you can do block placement, which is 400 hours in 1 semester. We always tell students, if you want to do block placement, we encourage it, because that means you can actually graduate a semester early. But that means that you have to, it can be hard to do block placement if you're working a full-time job, right? Because you're going to be in your field placement 4 days out the week. So we strongly encourage students that think they can keep things still in their life for 1 semester, that if you're able to do it, I encourage you to do it. You go ahead and knock it out. But if you're not able to do it, we do offer concurrent. We don't tell you which one you should do, because only you know your schedule, only you know your home life and what works best for you. But we will strongly encourage you which way to go, but it's 100% up to you and what works with your schedule. Right now, we are not an accredited online program. So all our classes are in person, except for that introduction to social work class, which is asynchronous and online. But other than that, all our classes are in person. Over the last year and a half, we were able to do our classes remotely, but that was only because of COVID. But we are accredited as we are accredited as an in-person program. Actually starting in the spring, we will be back in person for our courses, except for Introduction to Social Work and our Field Seminar courses. But other than that, all your Part 1 courses, all your Part 2 courses are in person. Now, we are working on trying to become accredited as an online BSW program, but that will take some time because you have to go through CSWE. And then we also have to get approved by our dean, and then we have to go all the way to the top to the UNC system. So that's a process. But as of right now, starting back in the spring of 2022, we will be back in person for our classes.
Dr. Bates, it looks like we have a question.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Oh, Jasmine, you want to unmute and pose your question?
Yes. I don't know if I heard you right, but is the intro to social service, the social work, you said that's only 1 Saturday?
No, that's the Introduction to Social Work course that's offered year round. So we offer it fall, spring, and summer, and it's asynchronous. That means it's 100% online.
Okay. And
Yeah.
And if I'm because I transfer next fall, because I plan to graduate in May of 2022, which is next year. But okay. I'm still have 2 electives to finish after graduating, and that's I'm gonna try to get into intro to social work, and I have 1 other elective for Psych Tech. How would I go about doing that?
And Dr. Bates, let me see if I can help out with that question. We have set up our AAS degree. to, if you all know with your AAS degree, you need to take 5 electives. We're talking about your degree here at Forsyth Tech, so not what Dr. Bates manages. One of those courses can be Intro to Social Work. Now, we don't teach it here at Forsyth Tech, but if you set up to do dual enrollment, which is a thing that you can apply at a 4-year university like Winston-Salem State without being a fully enrolled student and take up to 3 classes, I believe it is. So in theory, what you would do, Jasmine, is enroll to take Intro to Social Work in the spring or the summer in one of Winston-Salem State's online sections of that class. You would then need to transfer back that credit to Forsyth Tech, so it would wrap up your AAS degree. It would still be on your transcript at Winston-Salem State, so it would also count towards what Dr. Bates is describing, as you need to have that completed with a C or better to be able then to proceed applying to the social work major. So we have that overlap. We're still working on making that a smooth opportunity to do the dual enrollment, but if you're game, because there's a lot of benefits there that you can take a class and have it meet requirements at both schools and advance your degrees, we can work with you to be exploring that. You need to, be talking to the people here, your academic advisors. Financial aid, you have to work with both schools, but likely I think you only get awarded your money from one school. But if you get your payout, then you use that to pay for it. So it has a little bit more of steps you need to take, but there's a lot of benefits if you want to work on that. So I think that helps you out with that, Jasmine. And then you said you need 2 more electives to wrap up your AAS degree. You would choose your other one from one of our lists here at Forsyth Tech.
Okay, yeah. And you said I should start that in the spring. So spring coming up. Because I think I already put it on my plan. It's just not on, it's not like
For
registered
students
yet.
who would, for students, any of you who would like to take the Intro to Social Work class from Winston-Salem State, you're going to need to get in line with their process. So you have to work like you do when you get admitted to any school. You would have to be applying to that dual enrollment, get all of their steps completed for that, and then register and enroll. I don't know what availability of slots are for a spring class yet. Summer class maybe has more opportunity because that registration is probably still just opening up for that May class he referred to.
Well, I have a question. So I already started the application for a transfer to Winston-Salem State. Is it too early? Because I know I need an official transcript. Do I wait till after graduation to send that, or does it really matter?
Yeah, so I would say you definitely need your official transcript because the registrar's office is going to require that. So I would say after you graduated, like as soon as you cross that stage and they certify your transcript, definitely have it mailed or drop off at the registrar's office, because then they officially determine what your credit hours are, what credit hours do you have are going to transfer over. We unfortunately, we don't play a role in that. That's the registrar's office, and then they tell us what credit hours you have that are transferred over and what you do need to take and what you don't need to take far as elective and gen ed hours. When it comes to the social work courses, we got that locked up. We take care of that part. But as far as your gen ed requirements and your elective hours requirements, that's determined by the registrar's office. So you would definitely take it to them.
So it's not too early to start talking to an admissions office and finding out the things you'd like to get all of that lined up for the fall, but it won't get completed till you've taken that last class. But you can be working with an admissions officer, over months and get all of your information. So I wouldn't wait till you think you've got all your stack of papers to the week of school start before that. Go ahead and start that when you're interested in a school.
Okay.
And Dr. Bates, we have another question that popped up in the chat box. It's asking, how long is the process time between completing intro to social work, and being accepted into the social work program in the fall semester. So if you were going to take summertime intro to social work,
Okay.
how long would it be? Is it feasible that you could start then the program already that fall?
Yeah, absolutely. So the process to apply for the program, while you're taking the introduction to social work course, we take you through that process. So we tell you how to fill out, to submit your application, what goes along with it. And then once you've completed the course while completing the course, you will submit your application. And then we let you know soon after if you've been accepted into the program. But for the most part, if you know you're going to pass that course with a C or better, and you have all the other supporting documentation, 9 times out of 10, you're fine. That's the biggest things that you have to pass that course to C or better. As long as you have that, because along with your application, you have to complete an application, and with the application, you have to do a personal statement. You have to submit your transcript. So those are all just formalities. The biggest thing is that you have to pass that course with the C or better, and then we can work out everything else as part of that application. I hope that answered your question. Okay, so I think I have one more slide. No, that's it. Yeah.
Oh.
Are there any? Yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen. Are there any questions? And then I wanted to share one more form that just shows how our courses break down, what order to take them in, and everything.
So feel free to type in the chat box questions or to turn off your mic and pose a question to Dr. Bates. And while we're waiting for questions, I was going to just clarify a couple things for our students that are interested in doing this AAS path to a BSW. You'll want to pay attention to, in our AAS program, on your biology or math choice. So in our AAS, you have to complete either a biology or a math. One of those courses that meets that for Forsyth Tech is statistics. And that's a great choice then if you're interested in this pathway to BSW, because the BSW program requires statistics. So that's a great choice. Also, to know that when you're transferring credits, when he talks about depending how many courses you transfer over from your AAS degree, your classes at a community college need to be a C or better to be able to go to the school. So you'll finish your AAS if you got a D or so hanging out there. It just means that you might have less courses transfer, and you would just have to take an additional one to make those numbers match when you go to Winston-Salem State. Another kind of cool thing when you're transferring schools, you'll have your GPA of your courses here at Forsyth Tech. We also say you have to have a 2.0 to be able to graduate for that. You get a transfer, they take all those credits over there, and then you get a new GPA starting. So when Dr. Bates refers to you need to have that 2.0 or 2.5, you get a head start. So, you rock out those first semesters there at Winston-Salem State, you can be a 4.0 student or a 3.0 or, be in good shape for the numbers that he's talking about. So.
Can you all see this Word document that I'm sharing? Okay, so this is just a breakdown of how our courses need to be taken. Like I said, the majority of the students who come in with a associate's degree from community college, they usually have already satisfied these 3 requirements as far as the general sociology, psychology, and introductory statistics course. So usually most of the students who come in don't have to worry about that. So you don't have to take that when you get here. And then, like I said, the biggest things that you have to take the introduction to social work course. Once again, it's offered in the fall, spring, and summer one. And once you've gotten to C or better, then that's when you start taking our higher level courses. So in the fall, that's when you take our Part 1 courses. They are Human Behavior 1, Social Welfare Policy 1, Methods 1, and Research. Notice that they're all 3 credit hours. So your first semester, if you're going full time, essentially you'll be taking 12 credit hours the first semester, and that's your Part 1 courses. Then in the spring, you would take your Part 2 courses, and that would be Human Behavior 2, policy 2, methods 2, and then you take what's called a seminar course, which is 1 credit hour. And the BSW seminar course, it's the course you take before you go into field placement that prepares you for field placement. During that course, we talk to you about some important things like your professionalism, appropriate dress, email etiquette, and we also do your practice field interviews that set you up for your actual field interviews. Notice, like I said, it's only a 1 credit hour course. It meets on 1 Saturday each month throughout that semester. So as you see, that means the spring semester, you'll be taking a total of 10. So usually what we tell students is, because you need 12 to be full-time, right, for financial aid purposes, is that they also they have to take these courses as well, which are either sociology of the family or race and culture. So usually that is during the spring semester is where we tell them to try to take one of these courses right here to get them either at or above the 12 credit hours for full-time status. Then once you've done that, that's when you get into either your field placement, where either you do block placement, where you take it all in 1 semester, or you can do field 1 in 1 semester and field 2 the other semester. Notice how a block placement, it's 12 credit hours. So that means, once again, you're gonna be in your field placement Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then you take the applied social work course that goes along with that field placement. What else am I missing? I think
Dr.
that's
Bates,
yes,
just to
ma'am.
clarify on that credits you had at the bottom,
Yes.
is it all 3 of those that need to be taken or just one of those?
So yeah, that's a good question, Ms. Zook. So both of them. So it's either you take sociology of the family to satisfy that requirement, and you take either race and culture or cultural diversity. So it's pretty much 2 courses.
Okay,
Just,
because
so-
our students in our human services program will already have the sociology of the family. So it would
Great.
just be that second one.
Yeah, so there's a good chance that should transfer over as well. And then you just need to take the race and culture or cultural diversity course. You can take either one. Most students usually take race and culture because I believe that is another online course that is, it's not offered through our major. I think that's through the sociology department. But I think it's online and it is asynchronous as well. So you don't meet in person. Don't quote me, but I think it's also online.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are all of the courses offered online or just some? And this is a 2-part question. Excuse me. And also, the hours, are they throughout the whole semester, or are they kind of like for Psych Tech offers the A and B, or the 7.5 weeks?
I didn't hear you as well. Your voice was going in and out. Could you repeat that
Mhm.
one?
Your mic's going in and out. So pull
Yes.
closer.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, so I have a 2-part question.
Mhm.
Are the classes kind of like for Psych Tech has the 7.5 week classes, the A and B courses?
Oh, no. So ours is a semester. So you start, like, if you're taking your part 1 courses, it'll start in August and it'll be over in December, or it'll start in January and you'll be done in May. We do semesters.
And are they all offered in person, or is it online, or can
Yeah.
you?
No. I mentioned that earlier. Starting in the spring of next year, we're gonna be back
Okay.
in person.
Back in
So,
person? Okay.
yeah. All our courses will be in person except for the introduction to social work course. Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Other questions want to pose?
I had one, but it slipped my mind. I'm still thinking.
Ms. Mitchell, were there any more questions from your class?
Oh, I know what it was. So with I don't know how to word it, but with the way to get your bachelor's in social work, in a year and a half, you have to already have an associate's degree. Correct?
Yes. Yeah, to graduate our program, if you have that associate's degree, that means you have more credit hours that transfer over. So that means you have less elective hours and gen ed requirements that you have to do, which will mean when you start here, pretty much you can go directly and start taking your social work courses. So you have to take those other classes. That's a requirement.
Okay. And it's not a major degree at Winston-Salem State, or it is?
Well, what do you mean?
Is there, you know how it goes from bachelor's to master's?
No, so ours is a bachelor's in social work. So it is a major. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I meant to say master's.
Oh, we don't have an MSW program.
Okay.
No.
So instead, the Winston-Salem State graduates with the BSW, they're able to apply then to multiple other schools. So in our triad area, we do have masters in social work. UNCG and A&T have a joint masters in social work. UNC Chapel Hill offers a remote one up here in Winston-Salem. And then, you know, you can also travel. So I think a lot of Winston-Salem states have been able to go to NC State or to other schools across our state or outside of North Carolina.
Yeah, Ms. Zook, that's a perfect segue. So we'll be having our graduate school fair, our MSW graduate school fair. When is that thing? October 15th. So like 2-3 weeks from now. And, you know, at this event, that's where we have different MSW programs come and present and tell our students about the program, about their program, what are the requirements and everything. And so I think we already have confirmed we have NC State that's going to be presenting. We're going to have the joint program between UNCG and A&T, UNC Chapel Hill, UNC Pembroke, Jackson State University, which is located in Mississippi. For those of you who may consider traveling outside the state, we have a great relationship with that school. So like I said, we just have a lot of partnerships with MSW programs that specifically seek out our students, because we try to graduate strong students that could represent not only themselves well, but represent this department well. You know, when you go out there, you're not only representing yourself as a graduate of the program, you're representing the program. So we take that very seriously. You know, you are our brand when you're walking around, and you know, when you're in class and you say something, we want people to say, okay, that was really sharp. And they can say, you know, where did you go to school at? I went and got my undergraduate degree at Winston-Salem State University. You know, and before that, I was at Forsyth Tech University, Forsyth Tech, and I got my AAS degree. So, you know, we are big on that. You are a strong representative of this program.
And Dr. Bates, if they have more questions after, how do they reach you?
Yes, my email is Bates, B-A-T. Well, actually, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, throw that in
It
the
is
chat.
batesds@wssu.edu, and I just put it in the chat. Definitely email me if you have any questions. Email is the quickest way to get in touch with me. But yeah, if you have any questions about the program, what you need to do, any of the classes, I'm available to reach out to you and discuss that.
Super. And I think we have another question that popped up in the chat. It was clarifying about the advanced standing is related to other MSW programs.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. So yeah, usually when you go into an MSW program, they give you different options. Like you can do full-time, you can do part-time. Advanced standing is the one where you can get your MSW in 11 months, but you have to have an undergraduate degree in social work and you have to have a certain GPA. Now, what that GPA it depends on that MSW program. So some vary. Some may say you may have to have a 3.2, others may say you have to have a 3.5, but it allows you the opportunity to graduate with your degree, your master's degree, in less than a year, which is which is very impressive. So essentially, and I think me and Ms. Zook were talking about this when we met a few weeks ago. After you've gotten your associate's degree, it takes a year and a half. If you did our program in a year and a half, and you did an advanced standing program in 11 months, essentially you would go from an associate's degree to an MSW in what, Ms. Zook, was that 2.5 years?
2.5 years.
You know, that's, I mean, you can't beat that.
That's a great career jump from
Absolutely.
getting your grounding here with us at Foresight Tech. And you get a head start on a lot of those types of things that you get to expand on in the BSW program. So I think that's been a nice advantage for a student coming out of an AAS program. So while you still do your placements and your field work as a student at Winston-Salem State, it won't be your first time you've done field work, because you're already going to get a practice with that. It's not going to be the first time you practice interviewing or professionalism. We'll be getting you groomed and ready for that, and then you can be a superstar and keep growing.
Yes, well said. Yes, absolutely.
So, all right. Well, I don't see any more questions popping up, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. I am recording this, so that recording becomes available in the next 24 hours, and I'll make it available the same way you found out about this Zoom meeting. I'll send a link to that, and you have Dr. Bates's information, so you can pose questions. You can certainly pose questions to me if you're looking to navigate this, and along with your academic advisors. So thank you, Dr. Bates, for taking this morning with us. We really appreciate this bridge to your program. I think we've got a good thing going, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. I hope you've learned some things, and if this is a good match for you, that you'll take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Thank you all. I look forward to seeing you.
All right, everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
You too.